we value deeply what you value, and we want to see those retirement dreams and goals, the places that you want to go, the people you want to spend time with, come to fruition. And what good does it do if we don't have a conversation around protection? Hey folks, this is Colin Richards, president and founder of Lord & Richards, and once again, I'm excited to be with you today here on the Lord & Richards Show. And in this show, we're talking to people just like you who are concerned that things like the economy, the markets, events out of your control could really mess up your retirement plans and dreams. So whether you're retired already or looking forward to that day when you don't have to set the alarm, whatever it is, wherever you are, we call that financial independence, being able to do what you love with the people that you love for all the reasons that are important to you. And here at Lord & Richards, we teach financial independence from a biblical viewpoint. So we talk about key biblical principles such as what the Bible has to say about wealth and risk and giving and so on. And in this particular episode, we're going to be talking about one of the most frequently asked questions, whether we're talking about on the internet or whether we're talking about the thousands of meetings I've conducted with people just like you. Here's the question: Colin, how much risk should I take in retirement and still be likely to succeed? How much risk should I take in retirement? Well, there really are three key areas we're going to touch on today in three different segments. And so in this first segment, we're going to talk about a process we use at Lord & Richards. We call it your Financial Independence Review. And ultimately, what we're going to develop for you is called a financial independence roadmap. That is a written set of plans to help you navigate whether you're getting ready to retire, looking forward to it in the future, or trying to sustain it now, getting ready to navigate all of the challenges, which include making sure you don't take more than the necessary risk in order to be successful. And by successful, we mean never running out of money before you run out of life. Does that sound like a good definition of success? But yet there are so many things that get in the way, right? I've already mentioned things like the economy and markets, which can really affect the value of your portfolio when markets go down because of those things. Things like, do I have enough income, right? It may be fine in terms of a lump sum, but how do you withdraw that money over your lifetime to make sure that you never run out? Am I protected if I or somebody that I love, that I'm financially responsible for, gets chronically sick? And I have to go into care that is not paid for by the government or by my traditional Medicare programs. And then a real big one that's on a lot of people's minds is, what about these taxes? You know, believe it or not, we're in a pretty good tax environment right now. It is the optimal time to be making plans and shifting strategies so that when the other foot drops and taxes go up, you're not left unprepared. And then, of course, what do I do about what I leave behind? You know, as Christians, the Bible says that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, not just his children, but as a multi-generational legacy to those that you love, as well as for the causes that you love. Some of you I talk to, and you really are excited about doing things in your lifetime, which I really love that. Building a legacy during your lifetime, but also making sure that at the end of life, all that you have built up over the years as a good steward doesn't wind up in the hands of nursing homes, hospitals, and the government. And by the way, those are the places it all goes to without a written plan. So we need a written plan, and one of the first steps in your financial independence review is to determine how much risk can you take in order to be successful, how much risk should you take, how much risk can you tolerate. So let's talk about that last one. How about your tolerance? Now, I've seen all kinds of little questionnaires and so forth that, frankly, are an exercise most advisors go through because they have to. In order to satisfy the compliance needs of the brokerage that they work for, they have to ask you, do you have a high risk tolerance, a low risk tolerance, or a moderate risk tolerance? And so guess where everybody winds up? Yeah, everybody's kind of in the middle. They're like, well, I don't want to say high because I don't want to get wiped out in the next market correction, but I don't want to say low because then I won't have the opportunity, so I'll just say moderate. That sounds like opportunity as well as some safety. Here's the problem. When you do that, most of the time you wind up in portfolios that are what I might call, the technical term I think is blah, okay? The blah middle ground of investing is where most people are stuck. Warren Buffett criticizes this approach just ruthlessly and calls it thoughtless, because you're literally paying somebody to just water everything down, get you mediocre returns as well as mediocre level of safety. So we're going to go way past that. And we're actually going to sit down with you in a beautiful environment in our offices and enjoy a great conversation around your life and what's important to you and who the people are that are important to you. You know, as a part of developing a comprehensive plan to make sure you succeed in retirement in all these areas I've mentioned, you've got to have a conversation, right? And I've seen people whipped in and out of meetings like this, like they're in a doctor's office, right? Just getting churned through and sold something, right? And by that, I don't mean just things like life insurance. I'm talking about things like mutual funds and ETFs, things that, you know, you think everybody out there who's selling that stuff is a fiduciary. You think everybody out there has the expertise of being a certified financial planner, but the reality is almost none of the people most people are visiting with have that expertise or that high standard of being a fiduciary. Well, of course, those are underpinnings of Lord and Richards. We value deeply what you value, and we want to see those retirement dreams and goals, the places that you want to go, the people you want to spend time with, come to fruition. And what good does it do if we don't have a conversation around protection? Right? But in my third segment, I'm going to talk about how Lord and Richards does it, right? How is it that Lord and Richards does it? One of the things we do is we're going to determine, as we have that conversation, how much money in your portfolio you're actually okay with losing. Now, I put it that way. That's pretty stark, right? Because most advisors don't want to say that term loss. You know, it's only a paper loss, right? Well, then I guess that means all the gains were just paper gains, right? No, we're talking losses, because if you need access to that money and it's not there, you've lost it, right? So we're going to have a conversation around that, and we use a special diagram that visualizes this for you, where you can see the risk on one side and the reward on the other. Hey, if I want to try to achieve 10 or 15% average returns in the market, what kind of risk does that come with? We'll show you. We backtest portfolios. We'll backtest your portfolio and show you how much risk you're taking now relative to the average rate of return you can expect based on the past. Now, of course, I know that we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know the future, but I can tell you, if we relive history, what you would have averaged in these same investments you hold today. That is an important conversation, right? We're going to show you what your current portfolio would look like if you went through another 0809 when most people lost half their money, or 2000 to 2001 when most people lost half their money, or the stock market crashes that preceded that. What does your current portfolio look like? Has your advisor taken into account the reality that those things will happen again? You see, what we learn from history is we don't learn from history. And folks, I want you to be prepared in advance, because failing to plan is planning to fail. And out of that conversation, we're going to actually come up with a number we call your safety percentage. Listen carefully, safety percentage. And Lord and Richards is going to come alongside of you and build a portfolio that is designed not to breach that downside limit that we set together in that conversation. And we're going to put it down on paper, and we're going to put signatures, and we're going to back it up. Lord and Richards is not going to get paid if we breach that number. You say, I don't want to lose more than 25% of my portfolio if the markets really crash. Okay, we write it down. Fine. We build a portfolio around that still provides opportunity for growth. Not using the blah middle ground, but actually using a technique I call the barbell, which we'll describe more later. And then we're going to back it up. How many advisors have you talked to who are ever willing to say, we don't get paid if you're not succeeding? Oh, I've heard folks say, well, when you win, we win. That just means when your portfolio goes up, they can charge more fees. That's all over the radio. That's all over print. You get that in your mailbox. But when you lose, they still win. Not at Lord and Richards. If you'd like to find out more about that, I would love to have a conversation with you together with our wonderful team of advisors. It simply starts with a phone call.